Lately, we've been seeing a lot of underground artists gaining more recognition. Artists like Yeat, whose first week sales increases with every album, and Ken Carson getting his first #1 album recently. Although these guys aren't mainstream just yet, they're kind of in this middle spot where they're getting most of their love from the underground scene while still getting recognition from that mainstream side of music. Only the real ones remember when academics reacted to Ken Carson on stream and just brushed him off because he didn't have a hit, only for a couple years later to have Lil Uzi Vert talk to him about Ken like he was the best thing since sliced bread. And as someone who's been tapped into the scene since around 2020 when that whole plug-in B-Wave was running it, seeing things like this and how far it's come is nice to see. With that, however, there's a lot of things in this scene that I think needs to be acknowledged because, like anything, it has its problems, and in retrospect, it does get a little wild. Nonetheless, if you enjoy this video, consider leaving a like and comment your own thoughts down below. While the underground scene has numerous issues like artists blatantly ripping established artists and claiming it's inspiration, or the terrible fan bases making these artists' lives hell, this wouldn't be a true underground video without me addressing these damn allegations. People who are tapped in know exactly what I'm talking about, but for those who are just outsiders looking in, it's become extremely normalized for an artist to have some type of allegations that usually range from domestic abuse to straight up assault. While I'm not going to sit here and lie and say it's the most common thing in the underground, it's common enough that these days when they do come up, they often get ignored or they're forgotten within a couple of weeks. The most established artists in this scene have some type of allegations. Some that come to my mind is Lifeless Garments, Autumn, and Summers. While on one end, some of these artists truly don't deserve a platform if they're truly guilty of the things they're being accused of, I think it's safe to say that in most cases, if the music is considered good enough, even if they are guilty, the fans would not care. One of the latest cases that blew my mind was the one of Nine Vicious. He's an underground artist that's been on the come up lately, and while a lot of people call him a clone or zesty or whatever, I'm not really all too concerned with that. It's his life and the music is fire. But in classic fashion, a girl came out claiming that he was knowingly talking to her while she was underage. While the evidence was pretty solid, I feel like people kind of left the door open for possibility. But that all changed because on his latest album, however, I kid you not, he dropped the track not only admitting to what he did, but also admitting the reason he did it was because he was just trying to bust a quick one. This is a clear indication of just how normalized these kind of things are in this community. In what world could an established artist on the come up not only have allegations against them, but also admit to it in the form of Melody, taking a page out of the Ukulele Girl's book? On top of this, not only is he still receiving support from the fans, but he went on to get co-signed by Young Thug and is confirmed to be signed to his YSL label, essentially securing his success in the future. Now, by no means am I saying that big name artists don't have some type of allegations against them, but I can only imagine that taking this wild approach will come back to haunt him in the future if he eventually does start to see mainstream attention. I feel like this decision wasn't really taking into consideration the idea that one day he will be a bigger artist, which kind of leads me into my next point, the lack of longevity. I think it's safe to say that the artists popping up in the underground and the fans and the scene overall see it more as, a scene rather than a status or a clear indicator as to where the artist is in their career. Because of this, I think we see a lot of them get comfortable at this stage, and they kind of ignore the fact that this scene now moves like a cycle, with those who stick out being able to continue and have promising careers, and those who get comfortable or started moving like a superstar too early, having less people check for them. While there are rare cases where yes, certain artists don't make it mainstream, but they're still considered underground legends and still get love whenever they drop, one that comes to my mind is Jace, who even got a Lil Uzi Vert co-sign a year back, I'm pretty sure. But there's so many artists that genuinely fall through the cracks because of a hype train masked as genuine success. On another note, there's no denying that a lot of underground music is very experimental, and for the most part needs to be listened to with trained ears. With this, it's harder for mainstream listeners to catch on, since at face value, it could just sound like noise or nonsense. I personally can't really think of any other underground artist other than the whole Opium Collective whose music is kind of polarizing and succeeding as far as getting some type of recognition from mainstream listeners. while this could just be considered weeding out the ones who don't have what it takes, I feel like compared to the old SoundCloud era, where people like Trippie Redd, Juice WRLD, Lil Peep, X, and Playboi Carti all went on to do some type of mainstream numbers in some form, the amount of representation in the current underground has been a little lackluster. This one's kind of a tricky topic since on one end, yes, there's a serious lack of longevity in the underground where artists come and go. On another end, there's artists who make a real living off of being an underground artist. Going back to Jace, who basically has financial freedom and has the time to sit around and spend time with his kids. And on another end, there's artists who actually go on to become mainstream and make a big splash. So I guess it really comes down to what you want at the end of the day. I think the underground scene really is unique and has some interesting characters and personalities that really make you continue coming back. But like anything in the world, it has its shortcomings that need to be acknowledged. And while I can sit here and yap about everything wrong with it, at the end of the day, I'm a fan of the scene. So in retrospect, I'm victim to playing a part in the exact same thing I'm shunning. Nonetheless, if you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like and comment your own thoughts down below. My name's Sam and I hope you enjoyed.